So, welcome everyone. My name's Patrick. I'm one of the engineers here at Vehicle Tracking Solutions. The purpose of today's call is to talk about Silent Passenger Logbook. Essentially, that is the application that is going to keep you in compliance with the FMCSA mandate. Okay, so we're going to start and go ahead and go over this. So obviously, just to talk briefly about the timeline of this. So back in December 18th of 2017, all motor carriers must implement that ELD solution, Silent Passenger Logbook being yours, okay, and everyone being in full compliance by 2019. That 2-year time range is for the users who are using an AOBRD, which is a different type of recording technology. Just to give you like the quick little blooper of what an ELD must include, we need to allow the driver to log into a application to record sleeper berth, off duty, and on duty not driving. We must automatically record those driving segments as well. And we must be able to graphically display a record of duty status to the officer at any time as well, have it in a standardized format, and be a certified provider to meet those FMCSA specifications. So just to kind of give you guys a little visual of how our solution actually works is you have the black box that's installed in the vehicle that is connected to the computer of the vehicle through a cable. That device then transmits a Bluetooth signal which goes to your application, which is SP Logbook, and when you log in, that's how you bridge the connection between the computer of the vehicle and your device. At all times, the black box is transmitting data back to Silent Passenger, as well as the data that's captured between the two devices gets transmitted back to Silent Passenger as well. So you guys have SP Logbook on your devices, and this application can be found right on the home screen. The application looks just like this, and you're going to see your motor carrier name right in the box here, and you've all been provided a passcode which will allow you to log in to SP Logbook. And this will, once you hit log in, bear with me guys, I apologize, one moment.
Okay.
Sorry about that. So that 4-digit PIN, when you enter that 4-digit PIN and log in, SP Logbook is going to search via Bluetooth to find an appropriate vehicle, okay? So relating to Airwolf, they're going to see the vehicle name that they're connecting to. Now, your vehicle names in most cases, just giving a generic overview of that, are usually the vehicle number, and then after the vehicle number contains the driver or drivers' names. So when you're connecting to your vehicle, you're going to look for your vehicle number, and most likely that vehicle number is also going to append your driver's name to it, and potentially, if you have a co-driver, your co-driver's name to it. So I would click log in after entering my 4-digit PIN, and with my vehicle on, it's going to search via Bluetooth to find my vehicle that I'm driving. It's essential that you're connecting to your vehicle. This way we're able to pull data from the computer of the vehicle so we can tell when you're in the driving duty status. We can transition you automatically to the on duty status, okay? And anytime you move that vehicle, it's going to transition you right back to the driving duty status again. So once again, please ensure that when you are scanning via Bluetooth, it's going to show your vehicle number, and most likely as well, per the way they are labeled in Silent Passenger, vehicle number and driver/co-driver's name as well. Once you connect to your vehicle, it's going to bring you to this status screen, okay? And the status screen is going to provide you with a lot of the information that you're going to see throughout the day, and this is probably where you're going to spend the majority of the day as well. Now, if you're not connected to the vehicle, slightly above the bar up here, you would actually have a red bar that says you're not connected to a vehicle. If you tap that red bar, that's one way that you can go ahead and rescan to find your vehicle. So for example, if you stop throughout the day, or you reboot your tablet, or for example, you take your tablet away from the vehicle, that bar would come across the top to let you know that you are not connected to a vehicle, and it's an indication to the driver that we wouldn't be able to receive data from the computer. Essentially what I'm saying there is it wouldn't be able to put you into the driving duty status, okay? So once again, the screen that we're on right now is the status screen. You could see your current duty status here, okay? You're gonna be able to see your vehicle, and this would tell you your vehicle's name. Once again, Airwolf's vehicle's names are usually labeled vehicle number, a space, and then the driver's name or driver's name and co-driver's name. So don't be alarmed if you see your name in there. Ensure that you're clicking that if that pops up, okay? This gear wheel right here brings you into the vehicle information screen, which would allow you to rescan to discover a different vehicle if needed, okay? It also does allow you to manually select the vehicle, but if you manually select the vehicle, it will not connect to it via Bluetooth unless you rescan. The only way to get connected to that vehicle is if you're hitting the rescan button, okay? And once again, to be extremely explicit here, getting connected to the vehicle is the most crucial part of our application. This way we can receive data and push you into the duty statuses that you need to be in at specific times, which we'll talk about more. Slightly below that is your currently remaining hours. This is going to show you how much time you have left before a duty status change needs to happen. So for example, you have your 8 hours of rest, 8 hours before you need to take a 30-minute rest. And that 30 minutes of rest can happen in the sleeper berth or the SD status or the off status. You have your 11 hours of drive and 14 hours of shift, which would need to be 10 hours of off duty or sleeper berth in order to reset those. And then you have your 70-hour cycle, which you would need 34 hours in the off duty or sleeper berth state to reset that as well. Okay. Down below that, you have a section here that would show you any violations that you may have for the current cycle. Now, your cycle is either the last 8 days or since your last cycle reset based upon the way you're set up with the motor carrier. Okay. To talk about the buttons on the right-hand side here, you have on duty, which means you're on duty but not driving a vehicle. You have off duty, which means you're off duty. SB is your sleeper berth. That means you're sleeping in the sleeper berth in the back of the vehicle. And then D is the driving or driving duty status, which means you're on duty and driving a vehicle. With this driving status, you shouldn't have to click that status ever. Once again, if you're connected to the vehicle via Bluetooth, as soon as you exceed 5 miles an hour on that vehicle, it's going to push you into the driving duty status. Okay? Once you're in the driving duty status, if I arrive at a stop to offload, I can then stop. I would recommend manually pushing the on-duty button to say that I'm no longer driving. But if you forget, after 5 minutes, SP Logbook prompts you as a driver to let you know that you have not changed your duty status at this point, and we see the vehicle's not moving anymore. Now, but let's be honest, after 5 minutes, you're probably out of the vehicle and you don't have that tablet in front of you, so you're not going to see that prompt. So after an additional 60 seconds of that prompt appearing, if nothing's done on that prompt, we're going to automatically put you into the on-duty status. Okay, so the only two automatic things that happen is it's going to automatically push the driver into the driving duty status. And then if you stop the vehicle, if I stop for 5 minutes, it prompts me on the screen to let me know I can change my duty status because it sees I'm no longer driving. If nothing happens after an additional 60 seconds, it's going to push me automatically to the on-duty status. Now, before I go forward, does anyone have any questions that they want to ask about what I just went over just briefly?
No question. Only thing I have a concern about is the on-duty status, because a lot of drivers, when they finish and it push them on duty, right?
Mm-hmm.
They forget to go off duty.
Yeah, so unfortunately, the mandate doesn't allow us to push the driver at all to the off-duty or sleeper berth status. because there's no way for us to accurately identify that they're in that status. Now, with the current update, which we're going to talk more about when we talk about logging out or signing out, we'll talk about some of the prompts that a driver will get on this latest update. This way they can see there's been some changes regarding that, and we'll talk more about that. Okay?
And
that was a great question.
As far as the connectivity, now, as far as the connectivity, a lot of drivers are saying it's kicking them off. I'm guessing because of like where they are at the moment, the location and the connection, it's not there all the time. So sometimes it's picking the truck up, sometimes it's not picking the truck up. And a lot of other times when a driver is scanning to pick up their truck, it's picking up other trucks that surround them, but not their own truck.
Yeah, so to start off, Bluetooth is a type of technology that doesn't get affected by environmental variables. And what I mean by that is rain, snow, sleet, hail, whatever it may be in that sense, as well as location. So I could be at the top of a mountain or I could be 10 stories underground. Bluetooth is a low range communication, so it doesn't get affected by the location of where you are. So what that means is no matter where I am, I should still be able to discover that vehicle or that Bluetooth device in this case, to take it a little bit more technical. So if you're not seeing that, be glad to troubleshoot that in any manner. But at any time you're not getting connected, I think the most crucial part is for the driver to understand that that red bar across the top of the screen would help identify that you're not connected to the vehicle. So before you start to drive, you want to make sure that you don't see that red bar across the top. This way, it's just an easy indicator for you if you're connected to the vehicle or not. And we'll work through.
No, I'm sorry. No, what I meant to say is like the driver is connected, right? But while he is driving, you know, his co-driver is in the back sleeping or whatever, and while during driving, it's automatically disconnecting. So he, you know, like my driver, he won't stop just to connect, and you know what I mean. So it kind of like pick up the truck again, then it kicks him off again. So it's like fluctuate between that all the time. And I have a lot of drivers say complain about that all the time.
Okay, I'll have to take a look at that because as well, if there was any disconnection happening between while you're in the vehicle. So for example, let's say I was in a yard when I had two tractors next to each other and I was driving tractor one. I logged in and it found tractor one and it found tractor two, but I accidentally clicked tractor two. Okay, and I thought I was connected. I didn't see the red bar. I did my pre-trip inspection and I started to drive off. Well, after probably about 100 feet or so, you're going to become disconnected from trailer two because you're outside of that range now. And you'll then be connected back, or it's actually going to research again to ask you to connect to, let's say, now trailer one because trailer one's the only trailer around. So that is going to happen as well. And then the other thing that I'll mention is depending upon how many trucks are in the yard at a time, it can pick up a bunch of devices. Now that initial pop-up that comes up that allows you to choose your vehicle is actually scrollable. So if it picks up, let's say 5 vehicles, I don't know what the limit is before it starts to scroll, but that bar does become scrollable as well. So if you're picking up a bunch of vehicles, you can scroll on that pop-up window to see if your vehicle's more at the lower end of that list because it comes in alphabetical order. So, you know, if you're picking up vehicle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm driving vehicle 6 is going to be at the bottom of that list. So that's one of the caveats of the application as well. But at any time, Lisa, or Rob, whoever, if a driver's having an issue getting connected, our support team, so not just myself, but we have a full support team that can help ensure a driver is getting connected to that vehicle. Now, I know Rob has brought this to my attention in the past, and we had found that there were some changes after bringing this to our device engineers' attention, that we had made some changes to the devices, and I believe that has resolved a majority of the issues, but if there is something still ongoing, I do want to troubleshoot it in real time, whether they call our support team or call me directly. I'll be glad to ensure that they're getting connected. From my experience, it's just a lot of the time, I don't want to say all the time, is just following the proper procedure of getting reconnected. And as well, if the driver loses connectivity when they're driving, which is not a understood thing that I see happening today, but if the driver then does stop, it's not like the driver has to reconnect while driving again. It's going to keep the driver in that driving duty status, and then as soon as the driver arrives on site, the driver should always be verifying their duty status on SP logbook prior to making any changes, whether it's hopping out of the vehicle or changing the ignition status of the vehicle or what have you. They should always be verifying that, okay, it still says I'm in the driving duty status. I shouldn't be driving anymore because I'm stopped now. Okay. So those are some of the things that we're going to continue to talk about in this training today as well. Okay. Did that help answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Another thing I'm having when a driver is doing his 10-hour break. Now, some of the drivers, they do not spend the whole 10 hour in the sleeper berth, you know, so they would kind of like split it. There's another thing, they'll do like 5 in sleeper berth and 5 off duty. And that's another thing, it does not recognize the changes. So if he do 5 in sleeper and 5 off duty, it does not recognize him doing a full 10 hours. So that's another issue with the hours.
Yeah, we spoke about that last time. I think they're working on that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I did take that into consideration. I did speak with my team, and I have verified it myself. When we had a call, Darren and I spoke, I believe it was last Thursday or Friday. I had told them, yes, I've tested that, and I'd love to have you guys test it as well, outside of a vehicle, outside any of your drivers. Give it a try. Go on duty for an hour, so your shift time starts to count down. Then go ahead and put yourself in the off-duty status. Take up to 8-9 hours in the off-duty status, whatever you want to do, and then immediately put yourself into the sleeper berth status and wait that additional time. And that will then, after the total of 10 hours, that will then go ahead and reset your drive counter and your shift counter. And it was something that I had to verify myself as well, because at first, based upon our conversations, I had seen some areas of concern, but I did put it to the test because I wanted to be 100% sure that that process was working. And I have been able to verify that it is working for that. But please feel free to test it on your own as well, just to ensure, for your driver's sake, that you could be certain that that is working. Now, keep in mind, if a driver does, there have been some cases where a driver clicked on duty by accident, that is going to completely mess up their reset, even if it's for a second of time. That will mess up their reset. So if you go straight from off duty to straight to sleeper berth, or vice versa, whatever the case may be, it will reset upon 10 hours of completion. Now, to talk about the other item about cycle resets and drive resets and such of that nature is the sleeper berth split. So when your driver comes on duty, when their time is about to come up, they can go ahead and go in the off-duty position for, let's say, 2 hours. Okay. They can then go back on duty, and then they can finish that with the sleeper berth for 8 hours, or vice versa. So they can go in the sleeper berth for 8 hours, then come back on duty and finish the rest of the 2 hours in the off-duty position. That will allow them to automatically engage the sleeper berth exemption that we have and have implemented for you on not this version, but the version previous to this. So your driver should be able to use that as well going forward. And essentially that's going to put the driver, reset the driver's hours back to the point of when the first off-duty or sleeper berth had finished. Okay. And that will then count the hours going forward as well. Any questions on that before we go ahead and move forward?
No.
Okay. So we talked about logging in. You're going to log in, connect to your vehicle. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to click the on duty status. Okay. And that on duty status is going to put you on duty, but not driving. And the next thing you're going to need to do is click the three dots up on the top right-hand corner of the screen and go to DVIR logs. That's how you're going to complete your pre-trip or post-trip inspection. Okay. In this case, you're going to complete your pre-trip inspection. You're going to either say you found an issue or you found no issues. If you found no issues, great. You'll be able to sign off, which I'll show you in a second. But if you found an issue, you just need to select the item you had found an issue with. In the remarks section down below, you're going to be able to fill in any additional remarks. So this would help your mechanics or whoever's going to be taking a look at that, an easier way of identifying the actual issue that was found. Okay. And then you're going to have your driver's signature. So you'll sign off as a driver, hit submit on your signature, and then up on the top right to submit your DVIR. On the top right-hand corner, you'll be able to hit submit as well. And once you hit submit on the top right-hand corner, that's going to send it back and immediately notify if there was an issue. It's going to immediately notify your office that an issue has been found. Okay. So we talked about the status screen and we talked about doing your pre-trip inspection. The next thing you would do from there is you would get into the vehicle and start to drive. Once again, as long as you're connected to that vehicle, it's going to push you into the driving duty status automatically and calculate that you went over 5 miles an hour and you'll be in that driving duty status. Okay. I'll then stop at my first stop or stop along the way, and I can manually click the on duty button. Once again, you want to verify your hours before you make a change. And a change could be anything from turning the ignition on and off to getting in the vehicle or driving the vehicle. Okay. So it's imperative to understand those need to be verified as well, you know, as your driver is making certain changes in the field. Okay. So the next thing I want to talk about is the graph tab. Okay. The graph tab is to the right of the status screen. The first thing on the graph tab here is the on-duty summary. So you can see the total amount of on-duty time, that's on-duty and on-duty driving time combined together, and you'll be able to see that there, okay? And then down below, you have your pick date and back and forth options here to change days, to view different driver log dates. Those different driver log dates will allow you to then see the changes on the graph, which the graph will show me the total amount of time spent within each duty status. Okay. Same with the logs tab. The logs tab here will allow me to pick a date. It will allow me to go back and forth days to see every duty status change that has been made. The duty status change will identify the duty status entry type. So whether it was logging into the SP logbook app, turning the vehicle on, turning the vehicle off, driving, on duty, off duty, sleeper berth. You're going to see the time in which that happened, the location being city and state per the FMCSA, mileage, engine hours, and the origin of that request. The origin of that request is important so you can identify where did that request actually come from. Did I accidentally hit something that I shouldn't have, or was it something that I meant to do? You can identify that by the origin of being the driver, and the other origin that you're going to see is the automatic or auto origin, which you're going to see. And that's going to happen mainly when you turn the vehicle on and off, as well when you go into the driving duty status. And then if you wait the total of 6 minutes, once again, if you're driving and you were automatically put in the driving duty status and you stop the vehicle, after waiting 6 minutes, if nothing is done on that SP logbook app, it's automatically going to push you to the on-duty status. As you can see here, I turned the vehicle off at 7:29, and then at 7:35, I was automatically pushed into the on-duty status as well. Okay. So from there, I'm going to repeat the process of going on duty when I stop, and when I get back into the vehicle, starting to drive, and that's going to automatically push me back into the driving duty status, okay? So when you're on the road, obviously your guys are passing through a lot more way stations. You might have more frequent inspections that happen on the roadside. So in the Generate Report button up at the top of SP Logbook is inspection mode, okay? Inspection mode is where your drivers need to be at a roadside inspection. They should not be handing the tablet over in the status screen, the graph screen, or the log screen. There's a specific mode for the officers at a roadside inspection, and the purpose of that is as follows. Inspection mode actually locks down SP Logbook. It's providing the officer with information that they need to see per the FMCSA. It provides them with the last 7 days plus today's driver log. It provides them the graph. It provides them pre-trip and post-trip inspections. It provides them the duty status changes that happen. Essentially, it pulls everything that's needed from your interaction with SP Logbook into one screen, and then provides them some additional information like your DOT number, your driver's license number, your state, your motor carrier information, your ELD manufacturer information, okay, your driver ID number. That's your unique identifier. You probably have never seen that before. It's not something that you need to worry about. It's all part of the information that the officer needs to see, and you're going to be able to see that here in inspection mode. Okay, so you have your pick date option for the officer, back and forth options to change days. That once again locks down the officer to only see the last 7 days plus today's driver log. Up on the top right hand corner is the send via email and submit via web service. As well, if you've done a pre-trip and a post-trip for that day, you're going to see those options there as available for the officer to see as well. Okay, then you have your graph, your vehicle, driver, and motor carrier information in the middle, and all your duty status changes down at the bottom. At the end of my roadside inspection, I can hit this back button on the top left-hand corner, which will only allow me to exit inspection mode after entering my driver's 4-digit PIN in one last time. Okay? And that will bring me back to the screen, and I can continue logging from there. Now, one of the new features that we've added and enhanced in our solution is the Certify tab. So it was previously known as the Verify tab. It is now called the Certify tab because it services two functions. Per the FMCSA, every 24-hour log has to be certified by the driver, and any edits that are made by users inside of Silent Passenger, they have to be approved or denied by the driver. So in the Certify tab here, you're going to see all of the logs that have yet to be certified, the vehicle that they were with, any trailers that may have been associated, the starting location, your summary of off-duty, sleeper berth, driving, and on-duty. And if I click one of these uncertified logs, it's actually going to bring me to that log, and it's going to show me the graph and all of my duty status changes for that time period. And all I have to do as a driver is hit certify, okay? Now, that's a way for you to certify previous logs, okay? So if you potentially drove through the night and you didn't log out, so you wouldn't have gotten that prompt, which we'll talk more about in just a little bit, you could certify your logs anytime inside the Certify tab and under the Uncertified Driver Logs section of the Certify tab, okay? Then you have your driver log edit requests. Now, information is only going to show here when an edit is made by a user inside of Silent Passenger. It will show you the driver log date, the date and time it was requested on, and then as a driver, I could see the changes that were made in a really high-level overview. I could just see, okay, in this entry, we had 3 entries that were added, none were deleted, none were changed, and it's still pending. I haven't done anything with that yet. And then the one down below for the 12th as well, there was then one that was added as well. I can click on the driver log that there was an edit that was made, and it's going to first show me my original driver log, what it was prior to the edit. Okay. Then you're going to see the graph and all the existing duty status changes. Now, up top, I can preview those changes because it's important for the driver to see what changes were made to ensure that there are no mistakes on that driver log. And we provided a clear indication of what was changed on the driver's log. You could see the added here is in green. If there was something that was deleted, it would be highlighted in red. And if something was changed, and by changed, it could be a duty status was changed, or it was a time or a duration value that was changed, you're going to see that changed value in yellow as well. Okay. Now, at any point as a driver, I have the ability to show the original, which will bring me right back to show me the original, and then I can preview those changes as many times as I need to. And as a driver, all I have to do is either hit reject or approve. Reject rejects all those edits that were made for that driver log. Approve approves all of those edits for that driver log. So if there's something that you don't agree with, please reject it. If you agree with everything, please hit approve, and that will certify that those changes are now in effect. Okay. So to talk about the certification and sign out process and everything that's going to happen throughout your time using SP Logbook, if I click my driver's name up above, the first two things you're going to see are yard move and personal conveyance if it's been enabled on your per your hours of service rules. Yard move essentially takes a section of drive time that you're about to engage in and will associate that as on duty time, not driving. And then you have your personal conveyance, which will take that, once again, section of drive time that you're about to engage and put that in the off duty section. Okay. And that's something that you would engage and disengage yourself. Underneath that, I'm going to go ahead and hit sign out. So I would click my name, and there's a sign out button at the bottom of that menu. And when I sign out, it's going to look for a few different things. The first thing it's going to look at is, do you have any uncertified driver logs? If you have an uncertified driver log within the current cycle, it's going to prompt you on the screen with a pop-up that says you have uncertified driver logs pending approval. Do you want to view them now, yes or no? If you hit no, it will continue without going to the Certify tab. If I hit yes, it's going to bring you to the Certify tab, and it's going to default you to the uncertified driver logs. Here, the driver would then click the driver logs that need certification and approve those to be certified as well. Okay? If there are no drivers that need to be certified, you won't see that prompt. Okay? The next thing it's going to look for is any pending driver log edit requests. So if you've logged in, it pulls down any edits that are pending for you. And when you try to log out, it's going to let you know that there are edits that are still pending approval. Once again, you can hit yes to view them, no to continue without viewing them. When you hit yes, it's going to bring you right to the driver log edit request screen, where you can then click those entries, approve or reject those as well. The last thing is
on a different screen. My screen is still on the certified and driver log.
Yeah, we are on this. We are still on the certified.
Okay, you're
screen,
just chatting. You're not showing anything.
Just chatting. Yes, just chatting about that. So if you have certified driver logs that need to be certified, you're going to receive a prompt to let you know about that. If you have edits pending, you're going to receive a notification about that. Yes will bring you to those sections to view and make the changes necessary. No will continue on without making any of those changes. Okay. The last thing is, if I am in the on-duty position and I try to sign out, I will receive a notification that says you're not currently in the off-duty status. Do you want to be put in the off-duty status and sign out? Yes or no. If I hit yes, it's going to move my driver from on-duty to off-duty and sign me out of SP Logbook at that point. If I hit no, it's going to leave me in the on-duty status or whatever status I was previously in, and then it's going to sign me out as well. So that's the last prompt the driver is going to receive before signing out. Okay. The last thing I want to mention before I open up for any additional questions is, when you're connected to the vehicle and you're in the driving duty status that was automatically captured, it won't let you choose a different duty status if you're still moving that vehicle, unless you're engaging yard move or personal conveyance, meaning that I can't click, if I'm driving the vehicle, I can't click the on duty button. I'll get a prompt that says you're driving, we see you're in motion. You can't change your duty status at this time. As soon as I stop the vehicle, it will then open it up to allow me to choose a different duty status accordingly. Okay. Now, I would love to open it up to see if anyone else has any additional questions relating to anything I just went over.
I've been having a lot of complaint as far as like a driver just emailed me. He's like, Lisa, my tablet is freezing up. So when he's trying to go off duty to switch over to his co-driver, it automatically freezes up. So now,
So that's I don't mean to cut you off.
Is
The freezing up is a little bit of a generic term. For example, I won't mention the driver's name, but I spoke with a driver from Airwolf. The driver said the tablet was freezing up, and he was also having, or she was also having, issues with the tablet changing duty statuses automatically. And when I spoke with the driver said, no, it's not just SP logbook, it's everything with the tablet. And the reason we were able to even actually verify that is because I had asked the driver to reboot the tablet by holding the power button on the right-hand side, and then you get two buttons, power off or restart. Well, the driver tried to click restart, and the tablet wouldn't restart on the driver. It did nothing. So it's important to understand, is it SP logbook related or is it just tablet related? Those two we need to identify. Now, sometimes it's something that we might need to get on the phone with the driver to get a further explanation and to be able to identify that a little bit better as far as what they mean by freezing. Okay. Are there any other questions?